Good morning.
Good morning.
Is there any way you could flip your screen? I just want to record these so we can put them together. So sorry.
The other way. Oh, okay.
Amazing. Thank you. Good morning.
Can you see me?
If you could move a little bit more towards the middle of the screen. Yeah, perfect. Much better. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good. I can't see myself though, but that's all right. As long as you can see me.
You're in the frame. It's cool. I love the pieces you chose behind you. They're so cool.
Wanted to do it in the studio, but it's a bit cold this morning.
No, it's not ideal. I'm in a cardigan and another cardigan on my knees. I'm like, oh, the lies of summer almost here. So yeah, we'll start with your introduction, basically, who you are and what it is that you do.
Sorry, set my camera up for.
I'm so sorry.
No worries. So hi everyone. I'm Daphne Ang. I'm also known as Lady Lazarus after a Sylvia Plath poem, one of my favorites. I was born in Singapore. I grew up there, and I've kind of had a long circuitous route around and traversed the art ecosystem before arriving to being an artist. So starting with when I was in Singapore, I did a degree in arts management. So I was writing for contemporary artists. I was curating independent exhibitions on modern art in the 1950s. And I worked for a contemporary artist who was a bronze sculptor. And I decided that I needed to further my expertise in art through the study of art history. And at the time, there wasn't any courses in the universities in Singapore that offered art history degrees. So I decided that I needed to move from Singapore and to greener pastures. So I moved in to London in 2010 to pursue an MA in art history and archaeology at SOAS. So it was, I figured out that in order to understand the present or understand the art of the modern, we need to understand the history of which the modern has stemmed from. So that was important to me at the time. So yeah, I came to SOAS in London in 2010, it's like 10 years ago now. And I became I wouldn't say specialist in everything related to Southeast Asian art. So I decided to do a PhD as well, and
Wow, well done.
Probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I wouldn't suggest it. I thought it's over, so we can talk about it with slightly more relief. So I finished my PhD 2 years ago, 2018, and during the process of trying to complete my corrections, it was a very difficult time for me because so I have ADHD, and ADHD and a PhD just doesn't really cope sometimes. But it was a huge challenge. So it was a very difficult time for me because all these years I had thought that academia was something that I was definitely going to stay in for at least a large portion of my life, and I realized that it was really not my cup of tea because it really took a lot out of me. So I decided to take a break from academia. I was teaching and publishing and giving talks, working with museums on historical exhibitions. It was related to my research, which maybe we shouldn't talk about. But no. And in my darkest moments, I was stuck in a rut, and I needed to distract myself or break out of it, and that's where I turned to art, or just trying to find something, a creative project to in an effort to rejuvenate or get myself back on track. And so I started drawing mandalas. That's where it all
Oh,
started.
they're amazing. I find them very, very therapeutic. They're incredible. Sorry, carry on.
It became a ritual for me. Every day I would draw a mandala, and how mandalas work is you either start from the center and you expand out, or you create a perimeter and then you draw inward. So it's kind of whilst it's a graphic form, but the journey of drawing it, either expanding outwards or going inwards is it was quite effective psychologically on me. It did trigger something in me. The act of drawing or scratching on the surface was something that I never. I've always enjoyed doodling, but creating art was something that I was always afraid of.
What was it that you were afraid of, if you don't mind me asking?
So when I was growing up in Singapore, we had to take like art. Art was one of the subjects in school, and it was graded. So you had a grade for final exam. You sit in an examination hall and create a painting of some sorts, and then it would be judged. And I failed miserably because I painted the sky purple when it should be blue, that kind of thing. I was very discouraged by the method of the criteria of judging art at the time. I'm sure it's very different now, but
no, but that's like, because I know discovering my own sort of artistic path, and in doing that, I'm just trying to support as many artists as I can. But that blank page, I just want it to be a beautiful picture at the end, just beautiful. Like, that's not really the point. And like, I have to understand to get over that fear that like, throw away 100 pages, like you have to find your way to get over, like you say, the judgmental side for you didn't fit into your construct of how you wanted to express. So that's quite interesting to hear. Very cool. So the way that I always like to start these is kind of in your artistic life so far, because I feel you have so much more to give. Thank God. We're very excited. What's been your proudest moment connected to your artwork?
I suppose it's the fact that it wasn't planned. I didn't receive any formal education in terms of going to university to learn how to be an artist. I went to university and learned about how to interpret, critique, and research on art history. So it came from a very academic and curatorial side, which was my previous work. But it kind of came spontaneously. It's almost as if it was forced onto me. It was art lifted me up from my darkest moments, and I was just really just sharing drawings that I did. So I drew. I was doing drawings, so I did the mandalas, and then I moved on to figurative art. So I taught myself the human anatomy and how skeletons, the bone structure of the human body, the proportions, how muscles move move under the movement of bones, and all that kind of technical stuff. So I was just sharing, my drawings on my personal Instagram, and there was a good response from my friends, and one day a friend said to me, Daphne, you really have, you really should seriously consider, exploring this option of this talent of yours, because I had positive feedback from friends and families that they said there was a lot of emotion in my drawings, and I hadn't started painting at that time because I didn't dare to again. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to try picking up the paintbrush and see what happens. So I bought my first set of paints. I remember it's this massive box of like Liquitex basic tubes. It was like too many colors. It was just too many. Like, it was on sale on Amazon, and it was really like £20 for like a massive box. Okay, I got some brushes and some like canvas boards, like the really cheap ones. Because I always believed, start with cheap materials, and then if you can create something nice with that, then you progress later. So picked up the paintbrush, and then because of the change in medium, I somehow moved into abstraction. I moved totally away from figuration, and I think I found the medium to capture the essence. I believe that everyone has a medium of meaning. I call it the medium of meaning. It could be making music, cooking, culinary art, writing, poetry, whatever, gardening even. So it was the first time in my life where I felt that this was a mirror of my soul. And so I started posting pictures of my paintings, and people started reaching out to me, people I didn't know, saying that they wanted to buy my paintings. No way. I mean, I think that was, and the proudest, I guess, was when my dad, who lives in Singapore, he visited me in London, and he's not the sort of man who can comment on a painting or describe artwork, but he had this tone of seriousness in his voice, and he looked at me and said, "Daphne, I think I'm absolutely serious about this, but I think your paintings are really impressive. And if you want to be a painter, be the best painter a painter can be."
Wow, that's fantastic. Because from dad and someone who, like you say, can't describe art with the correct language or whatever, for him to take that must have been such a wow, what a moment.
It was a moment.
That's really, really cool. Sorry, it's just so interesting because, like, obviously going through like your Instagram page and like your web page and stuff, it's so, why I followed you in the first place is I felt so much emotion when because I just started following as a fan, like just, wow, this is really, really cool stuff, because it evokes, I always prefer to look at the art before I understand the artist, so I can know how I will always have an appreciation for every type of art, but how it specifically moves me. And to hear how you've come from such sort of an educational, academic sort of angle, even in your art, like you learned the bone structure and the muscles, and to connect you as an artist to the way I feel about your current stuff that I've seen, or how I've known you in the abstract sense, has been really insightful. That's quite cool how you kind of start really from the bottom, like you say, working with the cheaper materials to become a master of that before you invest more money. Like, it's nice to see how your process has been so very academic, but your art is so very much sort of about your feeling. Like, you can't help but feel away well, for me, I can't help but feel away when I look at your stuff. I feel like, wow, there's an emotion here, like this, I don't know maybe what it is at that point, but it's definitely very emotionally connected. And in researching like all Carl Jung and all your inspiration and the things you've done, it's incredible the amount of things you've done in such a short space of time. The production is incredible. You should be really, really proud.
Thank you.
I don't mean to be blowing smoke up your bum, but like, it's really quite interesting to hear. And then, so now when we talk of your proudest moment, what's kind of been maybe your scariest moment, or moment where it was like really not for you? How did you sort of handle that, and what was that moment for you so far?
It really has been the scariest moment for me in my journey as an artist, is realizing that I have to be an artist. In fact, and the realization that making art was my calling, and which, I mean, it's been something that I've been seeking for all my life, and I thought it was first was being a curator, was being an art writer, being an art historian, lecturer, researcher, but it didn't quite sit. But there was that moment. It was that one, the penny drop moment when it's like, okay, Daphne, you got to respect this voice. I mean, you respect this feeling, and pursue this, because if you don't, you're never going to be satisfied. You're never going to. Everyone in life, I guess everyone's journey in life is about finding one's niche, one's true calling, and many pass that opportunity up because of whatever reason. And I mean, deciding to be an artist is a scary thing because of the uncertainty and we all know, we all share the sentiments, but I would say respect the calling. Put your fear into the art itself. all those anxieties. So I mean, you were saying about the emotional bit, the emotional component in my paintings, and yeah, it is true. I for me, it's it really is a mirror of my soul. Every painting I do captures a moment, like a state of mind, a state of being, or a certain feeling, or a triumph of an event. I mean, so it kind of like, there's something quite edifying about capturing a state of mind or state of feeling into a two-dimensional form, and by doing that, it kind of contains it, and you distance yourself from it, and it makes it feel safer, I guess. They've captured dark moments, but I've also captured like triumphant moments, happy moments, some of the happiest. So
yeah,
they're like documents, and the fact that they're contained within the canvas is somehow quite edifying, therapeutic. Hopefully, I mean, it's nice to hear that, as a viewer, you feel these emotions, and I mean, the aim is, I believe that art connects. Everyone is connected by, we have our personal, our individual consciousness and also the unconscious, but as Carl Jung, I'm hugely inspired by his writings and works, believes also that we are connected by a collective unconscious, where so I guess maybe this is the collective unconscious in the works.
Yeah, I think that's totally true. And like not we, but there's so many things that we put in place to separate one another. But actually, there's so much more. Like, you would like to be safe. You'd like all your loved ones to be safe. It's the same for me. It's the same for basically, we all have very, very basic needs that we all kind of, like you say, unconsciously, but everyone needs them. It doesn't matter where you're from. Everyone wants to be safe and be able to, like you say, follow your calling, have that time. So that collective unconsciousness is super powerful, and we don't utilize it nearly as much as we could as human beings. And I do agree completely. I think art, like when I look at your pieces, I know that there's an emotion. There's not necessarily, like, some artists really need pain and fear to produce art. And I kind of feel like what's nice, excuse that word, what's so, for me, incredible in your art is that it's all, like you say, an emotional journal. So you're capturing the light and the dark. So you don't necessarily have to exist in a negative mind space to produce your art, which I find a really, really healthy way to be, because I also know some people who've produced their most fantastic painting and they were in such a rage. They were like, I want to kill my housemates. I must paint this. And what I said to him was, what might be difficult is having to exist at that level of anger, that level of anxiety and frustration to produce your style. If you're not getting therapy and debriefing, that's a really unhealthy way to exist as an artist, I think. I do get it. From pain comes fantastic things. But what I like about yours is it's every emotion. There's not like happiness doesn't get discarded because it's cheesy. Like if you're happy and that's the moment you're reflecting, I find that's good. Do you find that because it's emotionally based, you get to enjoy all the emotions?
So I call it the spectrum. So one has to exist on every part of the spectrum to be whole, and that applies to the mental states of creating art. I mean, I totally agree with you. I used to be like that actually. Like I would only think that something I created or wrote. Like I used to write poetry. In my moments of like darkness or like greatest pain, and these wonderful creative works come forth. But I found myself being trapped in this very dark place where I would keep myself in a dark place in order to make something that I would deem as worthy. I mean, or a good art. I mean, there's no good art or bad art. I feel it's how much it connects, how much is the propensity to how much is it a medium of meaning to you? I mean, to exist on the whole spectrum is to depict and convey the darkest and the most happiest or uplifting moments. But there's also the middle part of the spectrum. The daily mundane, the days where you wake up and you just feel like eating a box of chocolate and not moving an inch. You keep reworking the canvas and destroying it, which I used to always do, and then not being happy with the final product. And I think we've all been there. But I guess it's about knowing when something is complete as well.
That's really difficult. Sometimes you can absolutely, like, if you spend like 3 hours on something, in 10 minutes you can just really destroy it, because sometimes you feel like, oh my God, that's not enough time, and other artists are doing it for like 3 months and you've got no gauge. So like you say, that knowing that foot's done, or that's perfect coloring, or like that can be really heartbreaking in that 10 minutes where you destroy it all and you just weren't confident enough to go, actually I'm done. So yeah, that's an incredibly good point as well that you bring up.
Oh, I mean, even if you destroy it, you can always black gesso it, start over again. Yeah, I have a small pile now of canvas boards that I ruined by not stopping in time. But I kind of use it to experiment on new techniques, and so it's my little like call it I mean, I bring it out whenever I have spare paint, then I'll just slap it on to see what happens. So there's no wastage in a sense.
And have you found, since you've become an art, how long have you had a studio space? I assume, sorry, is the studio in your house?
Yeah, so basically, I have this, it's not really a garage. You can't really fit a car because it's an old house. But I mean, it used to be a storeroom for all the junk. But I've recently converted it into a painting space. So I put a sink in, and I made my own like painting like a desk thing with like old cardboard boxes. I put in some shelves, and so I paint in there now. It's doesn't have natural light, but it's perfect because I can splash paint around, and I'm not worried about creating a mess. So I have this dust sheet. I think that painters stuck it onto the wall with Velcro, and it goes down like in the photographer's studio. And so I can just make an absolute mess, and I feel free to just use a syringe full of red paint and squirted everywhere and like slapped on the canvas because I mean one of my methods and favorite ways of working. I mean, I don't have a plan when I start painting. Maybe I might have a rough idea of what I want to do. Like for example, now I'm working on some black and white paintings, but using iridescent or interference paints, and like layering the interference paints over each other, and using wet in wet techniques to blend the black and white. So I may have the idea in mind, but I have no idea what the form composition of the painting would be. So I would, take a brush and soak it with paint, literally slap it on the canvas.
Oh, you're so jealous. Yeah, because
Yeah,
how found that now that you have this studio space, do you find that it's something that you will continue to sort of fight to have wherever you are? Because we've had a room in our house for ages and we converted it to our studio. My sister and I share it. And it's been so fundamental in helping us get more disciplined and making sure we have space for whatever project we're each working on. So for us, it's like a garden. It's so, so important to have this space. How have you found, do you think you'll ever live without a studio again?
I mean, for now, I think the studio is going to stay home. I mean, it would be nice to have an ideal space. Would be, huge warehouse with like, these pulleys where we can do a Michelangelo in the Sistine Chapel, but the other way around with like water gun sort of paint. But for now, this is perfect. I mean, I've got a space to wash my brushes. I can make a mess. It really did open up, because I used to do it like, in the living room with on the carpets and all that mess. No good. Yeah. So I mean, the fact that I don't feel restrained anymore, and the space is demarcates an area for creation. So I have to respect the space, and as a space for that, I keep it clean, I keep it organized, but whilst making a mess.
That's so cool. So how, I know that this is, we're so over it, but now that we have this global pandemic, have you been able to, do you work sort of from home predominantly? Has it affected you? Do you have now more time? How has it affected you?
I mean, I've always worked from home. So when I was, doing my PhD and working as an independent researcher, it was always been me doing my own thing and work from home. So I'm very used to working from home.
Okay.
I'm on a, how's it affected me? I guess is the trying to make sure I have enough resources. I mean, enough food. So I just had the last Tesco delivery.
I mean, that's how it's affecting a lot of people. Just having to go buy shopping is like not nice.
So I just had the last Tesco delivery on Monday, and I mean, there are no slots for forever. I've been trying every day, but that's why I managed to be organized and order the stuff that I need to last me for however long. Because I mean, I think the most important thing for us to do now is really just to stay at home if you can. I mean, if you don't have to be out, don't go out, because the faster we can see we can all feel the sun on our backs sooner if everyone just stays at home. It's just as simple as that. If you can, of course. I've had to create a new schedule because I used to like to work in the nights where there's peace in the darkness and it's quiet, and then I would just work throughout the night and like sleep, barely sleep. But now I figured that there needs to be an order to things. I need to keep healthy. So I've changed my routine. So I wake up in the morning. I sleep at a decent time. I have breakfast, and then paint. It's like office hours painting time. I know it sounds like really, but is healthy because you need to get enough sleep, you need to eat your meals on time, which I used to not. I'll set an alarm so that I can have a cup of tea, and I try to exercise every day, because now that we're not going out and not taking the tube, which used to be a way to get your 10,000 steps in, which is not the case anymore. So I'll try to work. Clock in at least like half an hour of exercise every day, keep the mind healthy, got to keep the body healthy.
Oh, Daphne, by the way, lovely Alice from Art Battle sends all her love, and she's just written a comment. Could you please move your computer screen a tiny bit because you're being covered by the comments? So she's just giving us a little bit of.
Try to.
Oh no, the other way. A little bit the other way. A little bit more. There you go. Yeah, sorry, she's had to give us that feedback. You're still now in her comment a little bit, but when that disappears, we'll be okay. Perfect.
I can't see myself, sorry.
No, it's still a little covered by her comment, but it's better than it was. You're a little bit further on the screen. Thank you. And she sends all her love, by the way.
Oh, hello. I can't see
Yeah, no. So she said to me, I must send her best to you. So
actually, one of my proudest moments is Art Battle related.
Because when I was going through yesterday to post from your Instagram, I was like, oh my God, she's done Art Battle. So I'm excited to talk to you about that, because also with Alice this afternoon, we're going to work on getting a few more of the artists from Art Battle, maybe to do a few of these. So it'd be great to have you back when we do that. But how was Art Battle?
I mean, because there was supposed to be the London event on the 30th.
April. Yeah.
But I think they moved it to July now. But I mean, they do have the Art Battle online ones, which I'm still waiting for my the canvas of the right size to arrive from the delivery. It's taking quite long because of given the situation. So I've yet to submit the video for Art Battle online, because I'm waiting for my canvases. So it's coming.
It's on the way. How is it to take part in Art Battle? Because I just met Alice through our live drawing that we do each Sunday, and she came to one of the classes. So I happened to meet her there, but I had never heard of Art Battle before. But looking into it, it really, really looks so cool. All the event pictures and that. And how was it for you? Was it last year that you participated?
Oh no, I haven't yet, because there was.
Oh, you're going to go into this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so they have Art Battle. I mean, the live ones event. So you actually go to a venue, and they also have the Art Battle online, where you use an app to stream a pre-recorded video of you creating a painting. So the format is such. I think it's a 24 by 18. So it's a 24 by 18 canvas, and you're given 20 minutes to paint something. And you're not allowed to use certain mechanical devices like a spray bottle or a hairdryer, or stuff that would put you at the edge. So 20 minutes it's a nice time. I think it was challenging. I've been practicing, just doing on canvas boards or panels, timing myself. It's a good exercise in knowing when to stop and plan how, because of the limit.
Yeah.
I think so I'm very excited to have a go and record the 2 20-minute long videos for Art Battle online, and hopefully if this whole virus situation dies down, we will have the event in July.
Yeah, that would be so awesome. I was really looking forward to it. Like our whole collective, we were going to go. So we really are excited to see. And then when I saw it in your Instagram, I was like, ah. And then when I spoke with Alice this morning, I was like, you know Daphne? And she's like, I do. She's lovely. And I was like, excellent. So that's
lovely.
Yeah, no, and then now, so we've discussed your proudest moment and kind of your most apprehensive time. What is the kind of dream? Either the dream space, the dream commission, like what is the dream for Daphne Ang? Like, what is it?
I guess it's, I mean, there's the practical and the whimsical, I guess. Practical is to um, be able to, uh, for my artistic practice to be sustainable. For, I mean, I might be a bit idealistic, but I'm focused on developing a repertoire in order to, I have my fears and anxieties about this, but I'm just gonna go head on. And this just what needs to be done will be done and must be done. So it's just have to be disciplined about it. Creating a body of work. So before I even choose to take commissions, or because I've actually had requests for people to buy my works or commissions, but for now I'm like, I mean, because of some of the works that people had requested to buy, I had used really low quality materials, not even Liquitex, it was some children's watercolor set I got on eBay. So like, I won't sell this to you, but I can, create something new in the future. But right now I'm just focused on creating a body of work.
Awesome.
So the whimsical will be my warehouse thing. It'll be a huge warehouse, and a huge canvas and 10 meters, 10 by hold to scroll, and high ceilings, and I'll have this pulley system where I be strapped on a harness and be dangling from the.
Oh my God! I hope you get your dream. I'll visit you at your studio I might not ask for an invite. I might just hide outside. That sounds very cool. I might take a bit of your dream, actually. Big warehouse space with pulley systems. Maybe not for painting, just for fun.
For both, and then with a water gun filled with paint, and then just splashing it from, like, yeah.
No,
Actually, no. But in all seriousness, what I really want to do is something like a long scroll, like in the style of the Chinese calligraphic scrolls or illustrated manuscripts. It's a long format and a huge brush where it's both a performance and the final product. So a huge brush, and then with that, I mean, almost like the size of a broom, and to create this this.
Because you have a beautiful picture in like a white jumpsuit covered in paint. Is performance art something that you think will be sort of in line and running next to your abstract artists, or will it be a completely different Daphne? Like, would
It'd be same actually. I mean,
because it lends itself beautifully, like, to performance art, what you do, the feeling and all that stuff. I just didn't know how far you would want to take the performance artist stuff. So that's fantastic.
Thanks for bringing that up. Giving me an idea now. So I actually worked with a dear friend of mine. He's a photographer. He works with dancers, mostly dancers, and because I do some contortionist acts. So we were photographing like some movement related fine art photography, and when I got into painting, we were brainstorming about what to do with this new passion, and he has a studio out in the country with it's a beautiful, like, fully equipped studio, amazing scenery. But anyway, so he had a spare roll of like a backdrop that he said you can do something with it. So I came armed with like all my Liquitex basic paints, and then we did like a photo shoot out of creating this work. So I had like my favorite metal rock album playing in the background. Tool, Fear Inoculum is my favorite. I always use it to paint, and music is a huge part as well. So listen to the whole album, and then just created this action painting. Almost, it was a very spiritual event in the sense that it's collaboration between two people, like two artists, a photographer documenting, not really a painting. It was a exposition of. The dress that I was wearing, this white dress, was actually my wedding dress, which is now marriage is now ended. So it was me. It was a way for me to close the chapter of my life, and that's why I had to do that. It was almost like a ritual, I guess. And,
very cool. Yeah, because I think like just from reading like the small captions, I'm kind of excited for your performance art. Like I didn't know that like if it's an avenue for you, but I'm here for it. I think it will be very cool. The way that you can translate an emotion and the way you let that emotion come out, I think I'm excited for the performance artist in you. If she never arrives, I'm like, no pressure, but I think that will be really, really exciting to see how you produce it will be really cool.
Something's tingling in me now, so I think.
Sorry, no pressure. Okay, and then just to be fair, we've kind of covered sort of everything, just more how can people get hold of you and your artwork and stuff, and then that's really all I have to ask you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I mean, you can just send me a message on Instagram, or email me, which I think it should be on there.
Yes, I think
send me a message on Instagram if you're interested in any of my work. So want to collaborate or feature or just have a chat.
Awesome. Great. And then, looking forward to your entry into Art Battle. And then once I speak with Alice a bit more and we know what we'll do, if we do have an Art Battle week, it would be fantastic, to showcase some of the stuff that you're doing as well for that. So, and hopefully July, we're all near each other and we can go to Art Battle.
Yeah, in the summer as well.
Cool, but if I get any questions from anyone after this is over or they watch the live later, I'll definitely forward them on to you. But thank you so much for sharing some of your process and the things you've gone through as an artist with us. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Hopefully I've reached out to your hearts and minds.
No, I think it's so nice. So nice. Sorry, this word. It's, for me as an artist, it's so fantastic, these types of things, because they're really things I find almost all of us as artists struggle with. We don't take the time to celebrate our proudest moments. Sometimes we don't acknowledge how that fear drove us forward. We always think of it in a negative way. So these chats have been super enlightening for me anyway, and we've got good feedback. So thank you for sharing parts of your journey with us. It's really cool.
So, yay! Chance to.
No worries. And we'll post this story onto our live for the next 24 hours. And I'll also post anywhere that you guys can get hold of Daphne. But go check her Instagram out. Super amazing stuff out there. And we look forward to what you have to do in the future.
Cool.
So have a great day, guys.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye.